my toys.
Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the Neca Halloween Ultimate Michael Myers figure. This is Michael Myers from the 2018 film. Neca does not currently have the rights to make Michael Myers from any of the other films. I do believe they have done so in the past, a long time ago, when their articulation wasn't so great. So, let's check out this package. See his face here, the old weathered, wrinkled up sort of mask. Halloween, Ultimate Michael Myers. Got a little sticker here and it says, includes light up flickering pumpkin. Like that's a deal breaker. Oh, maybe I wouldn't have bought this, but that sticker, oh, that sure convinced me. Top, Neca Halloween, Michael Myers on there again. Side, Halloween. Other side, pretty much same thing. Bottom, barcode, etc. So in the back, a lot of different poses of the figure in different situations, doing all kind of horrible things that Michael Myers would do. And then of course, nice window packaging, just like pretty much all of Neca's Ultimates. On this side, you've got Michael Myers in a doorway, looking pretty menacing. And then here he is. We've got two different masked heads. We've got someone else's sort of decapitated, ruined head. We've got a knife, a hammer, looks like a fireplace pick. Then we've got four more hands down here, as well as the two he has, 6 hands total, plus of course the flickering pumpkin and a gravestone in the background. I must say, me personally, I did very much so enjoy the 2018 film. I didn't really feel like they needed to erase everything from canon. It's a great film and it flows great from part 1 to the new one. But I felt like they didn't have to get rid of the fact that she was a sister, and they could have left which sequels were canon and not canon, sort of ambiguous. Would have been my personal preference, but it is a great restart to the franchise. Not exactly a reboot, but a different timeline or whatnot. The Terminator films are the first thing I think about when they have numerous different timelines, and Halloween has about 3 or 4 of them as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and take this guy out of the package, see how awesome he is and how scary he is. Well, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with his accessories in their entirety. He is an Ultimate figure, so he comes with a nice, decent amount of accessories. He's got a combined total of 6 hands, 4 left hands and 2 right hands. He's got 2 alternate heads with his white mask on. He comes with a decapitated head as well. He comes with a light-up jack-o'-lantern, a fire poker, a hammer, and a knife. But before, let's look at the accessories further. Let's check out this figure. This guy's really cool. Neca has made a Michael Myers figure before, but it was back in the day when they made more statuesque figures, kind of following McFarlane's suit. Now they're making these Ultimate figures with tons of articulation. Really, Neca's put their best foot forward. So look at him. He's got the sort of weathered mask on the top, just like in the film. Really wish they could make an original Michael Myers, but they said that's not a possibility at this time. It's got what appears to be some kind of bullet hole here, although there's no blood. You can see his skin under there. You can see sort of a blue shirt under there as well. Just really liking the way he looks. Detail's great. Articulation is great. Very superb compared to their previous release of him. Here he is broke down as far as he can go with no heads or hands attached, so I can look at all of his accessories together. And just FYI, I did forget to mention the gravestone earlier. It was not in the pile of accessories. So here are all the accessories he comes with spread out together. First of all, let's check out his hands. So for his right hand, he's got one bloodied, opened up, can probably hold something kind of large. Then he's got another hand, once again bloodied up, and he can definitely hold his knife or his hammer, no problem. And for his left hands, one, these are all bloodied up again as well. One that can hold something kind of small. One that is pretty much completely open, might work for a choking hand. Another one that's sort of semi-open, could probably hold something kind of large. And then we've got one that is missing 2 of his fingers. Spoiler alert, but in the film, at one point he grabbed Laurie Strode, and I believe she shot off the last two of his fingers, his pinky and ring finger. Really cool to have that accessory as well. If they do make a sequel to the film, and I believe they will, more than likely he will not have those fingers. These are the two hands I chose to use for him for now, for display purposes. Next, let's check out the heads. He comes with two different heads. They pretty much have the same expression. The main difference I see is this one here, you can kind of see the eyes on the inside a little better, and this one here, they're much, much darker. Here he is with the head with the darker eyes. Let me go ahead and shine my flashlight into his eyes. You can see how you can't really see much inside of there. There are sculpted eyes in there, but they're very dark around them. Here he is with his other head with the eyes you can see a little better. Can't really see very good, but this left eye is the one that Laurie stabbed him in the first film with a coat hanger. And that eye is sort of blue and dead under the mask, and the other one is sort of normal looking. And since I've been using the flashlight, I notice he does look kind of creepy when you put it underneath, although it's not coming out very good on camera here. And I decided to take a head out of my fodder pile and put it on top of this body. If you wanted to take a regular action figure head and put on here, you could make a regular mechanic or civilian type guy. Although I'm not sure why you'd want to buy such a nice figure and turn him into just a regular person. That is definitely something that's up my alley, though. This head is maybe just a hair too small for it, but just so you know. The next accessory I'd like to look at is this severed head down here. Spoilers from the film. He killed a police officer, severed his head, sort of carved it into a jack-o'-lantern and shoved a flashlight into the head so that when they found it in the cop car, it definitely looked like a jack-o'-lantern. So I decided to take a flashlight and shine it into there and see kind of what it looked like. You can kind of see the light comes out of there. If you had a small little LED light, you can make a pretty cool little something going on with this head. I'm probably going to have to just throw this head with my Predator trophy wall, because what else am I going to do with this thing? But it's a really nice accessory to have added to this figure. And if you have any flashlight accessories, I took this flashlight for my police base. You can take the head, of course it depends on which accessory you have, and this one here, it fits in there. It does take a little bit of kind of moving around, but you can push it in there, kind of react the scene from the film. And if you want to do something really creepy with this head, try popping onto a Chucky body. Boy, that looks bizarre, my word, look at that thing, and it scales up pretty nicely on that figure. Next, let's look at his hammer real quick. It's bladed up on the top. I do remember him picking it up, and it's sort of, in my opinion, an homage to Halloween 2 when he used that near the beginning of the film. Of course, I took the hand that holds smaller items, pop it in there pretty easily, stays in there very nicely, doesn't fall out or anything, and he can go doing his thing, hitting people with a hammer, murdering them, or maybe just building something. Next, let's look at his kitchen knife. This is the stereotypical Michael Myers weapon of choice. Fits in his hand just fine, of course. And this is my Michael Myers going out there to do God knows what. Any Halloween costume of Michael Myers will come with a knife like this usually. Here is the Michael Myers knife that came with this Ultimate NECA figure. Here, it's quite a bit larger, is the Michael Myers knife that came with the older version of Michael Myers from many years ago. Then here is a recent similar kind of knife that came with Bride of Chucky 2-pack. I must say props to NECA for not reusing the sculpt on any of these knives and making completely new ones every time. Next, we've got the fireplace poker. Here it is, and it can be held two different ways. You could put his hand through here, sort of holding it between those two pieces. Probably not the best way to hold it. Then of course you could take this and shove it inside of his hand, and he holds it very nicely to go killing, maiming, whatever this guy wants to do. And then here's Alfred in my Wayne Manor diorama, using the fireplace poker to heat up the fire, mix it around. Next, let's look at the gravestone that he took from the graveyard. Our beloved daughter, Judith Myers, born November 10th, 1947, died October 31st, Halloween, 1963. She would have been just a hair under 16 years old, I believe, 15 and 11 months or so. Now, I must say that I looked and looked and looked and looked for the old gravestone that came with the original Michael Myers figure from Neca, and boy, I simply just could not find it. I know I've got it. It just did not seem to be in my numerous bags of accessories like it should have been. Would have loved to have compared them for you. And then the last accessory to check out, the jack-o'-lantern that came with this figure. It has actual light-up features. You can see in the back here if you have to swap out the battery, little screwdriver, and it probably comes with one of those small batteries that is a pain to replace. Pop the little top in, it does light up. Looks pretty cool in the dark. Small taste of what it looks like in the darkness. Does look pretty nice, and it's pretty bright as far as the light up feature goes. Here it is compared to the older jack-o'-lantern accessory with the original Michael Myers. It also has a light up feature. Once again, you push in the top, lights up a lot dimmer than the new one. Very similar on the back as far as how you change the batteries out. Here they both are lit up. The newer one sort of has a sort of flashing feature a little bit, as if a candle's lit inside of there. Pretty nice, if I may say so. What I did with the original jack-o'-lantern accessory from the previous Neca Michael Myers release is I gave it to this custom-made figure. This is Ghoul. He's a Joker henchman from Batman Beyond. And since I'm showing off this Batman Beyond custom, here's the entire team of Jokers from the movie Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. We've got Chucko, Dee Dee and Dee Dee, Bonk, Ghoul, and Woof. Here's Michael Myers with a huge arsenal in front of him. He's probably giddy at all the options and various ways to kill people. Now that we've taken a pretty in-depth look at his accessories, let's check out this figure's height. This is a Neca figure. They're pretty much usually the 7-inch scale. So this guy here looks like from top to bottom, it's really close to 8 inches. Looks like he's sitting at about 7 3/4 inches, maybe even just a hair taller, 7 7/8 inches. Next, let's check out this figure's articulation, and it is splendid compared to the previous Neca Michael Myers release. So of course his head is interchangeable, and it was, must say, with complete ease. The peg is very small on the top. It doesn't come off, but it doesn't come off on accident by any means, but it does swap out very easily as long as you can line it up with the hole inside. So his head, it's going to of course move all the way around. Looks up about that far, which is pretty nice, and looks down about that far. Shoulders, kind of ball joint, go out, not 90 degrees, but fairly close. Of course, they can go around, up and down, all that fun stuff. Then his elbows, they are double jointed elbows, but they're done a little bit differently than your traditional double jointed elbows. There's a separate piece of plastic between here, so it has sort of a joint here as well as a joint here. Now, something I found annoying is even though they're double jointed, it really doesn't go as high as I'd like it to. Yeah, he can touch his head and whatnot because of all the combined articulation, but I'd expect this to be able to sort of fold over to here, which it doesn't do. Both of these have a swivel on them, so you can move it around quite a bit. Then you got his hand. Of course, it can move around, no problem. And it does go up and down a little more than you would expect. He does have an ab crunch inside of there, and not really any waist articulation. His legs go out completely apart, 90 degrees, does the splits. Of course, you can see there's movement here as well as the leg can go around like so. His legs, not double jointed knees, single jointed. They can go that far, pretty much 90 degrees. And they do have a swivel as well. Of course, his feet, yes, they're going to move around some. They tilt a little bit. And they go up and down, really not too much, like that, and about like that. Next, let's check out some figure comparisons. This is the older, I want to say it was called Cult Classics or something like that, Michael Myers from Neca. He did not move very much, and boy, he just looks all kind of bad compared to this new one. This guy looked good for the time he was made, but that's a credit to this guy. This guy looks absolutely amazing. His detail is just so good. His mask looks really dull. He has no articulation whatsoever in here. Just got his shoulders that go out. He has elbows that do this. They don't even bend at all. He's got a wrist that moves around, head that moves around. Absolutely nothing going on this entire part of his body, and his feet move just about that much. It's a lot bigger size than this new one. Boy, this guy smashes this guy. If this guy's something like an 8 out of 10, this guy might have used to have been a 6 out of 10, but he's dropped down to at least a 5 because this guy is so awesome. Here he is compared to some other NECA horror action figures. Looking forward to adding more to my collection in the future. Here he is compared to his younger self. This is Michael Myers in the first film as a kid when he killed his sister, and then here he is as an adult many, many years later. He's in his 60s, I believe, in this film. Here he is compared to some other 7-inch NECA figures. They scale up pretty nicely with him. Of course, that's because they are of the same scale. And as far as victims go, this Burke figure is going to make a great victim. The expression on his face, like he just got stabbed and he doesn't really know what just happened, can be pretty nice. And you can see Burke laying in a puddle of blood as Michael Myers casually walks away at a slow pace. And then speaking of victims, these action figures would make great damsel in distresses for him to be chasing after. Of course, he is known as the babysitter killer sometimes. Once again, speaking of victims, these old Resident Evil zombie cops can make great dead bodies for your horror figures. Here he is compared to some Diamond Select action figures. They do scale up pretty nicely together, both being the 7-inch scale. And then here he is next to some McFarlane figures. Once again, these scale up nicely because they're also the 7-inch scale. And then while we're on the subject of McFarlane toys, here's a few Stranger Things cops. Get ready to take them down. I really wish I had a Dr. Loomis that I could add with these guys. Boy, that figure's quite expensive now. I'd love to track down that pack for both the Stairway and the Doctor. Who knows, maybe eventually. Here he is next to some Mattel wrestling figures. They scale up pretty nicely together, maybe just a little bit shorter than him. Of course, we've got some sort of larger and some not quite as large Mattel wrestling figures. Here he is next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. These guys definitely do not scale up nicely together. These guys are more of the 6-inch scale versus 7-inch scale, and the Marvel Legends are kind of on the smaller side of 6-inch scale. Here he is next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. Once again, he's a little bit on the larger side compared to these guys. A little bit different scale, 7 and 6 inches. Here he is compared to a NECA 7-inch scale Batman figure. Be really cool to pit these guys off against each other. This Michael Myers is actually a little bit taller than the NECA 7-inch Keaton Batman, made for a slightly different scale. Overall, I would say this is an absolutely amazing figure. Very solid. Accessories are great. Figure detail is amazing and great. Articulation is superb. I'd give this guy an 8.5 out of 10. Really, really did a nice job with this guy. Gonna be great on my horror shelf. If I ever want to bring a killer like him to Gotham City and have Batman take him down, it'll be great as well. Highly recommend getting this figure if you have any interest in it. I cannot wait to get Laurie Strode to pit them against each other. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, press like below. If you want to see additional videos from me, press subscribe. If you have any other action figure review requests, please post them below. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you guys real soon.